Most people kind of have their life, like their worst part of their life, maybe when they're like 20.
Okay.
But my life took the shits like in my 30s
Which is super hard.
and ends of my 20s, which makes it so much worse. Yeah.
I want to ask a question. I'll ask it off air about that. But
Mhm.
yeah. So in high school, I could feel it, and I never understood, because it's all about perspective. I have no idea, and you don't know at that time what to ask a person, but you could feel something darker in you. And like at one point it's like, oh, maybe it's just hormonal. Who knows what happens? But I never would have guessed what was really going on at home, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
So in high
Yeah.
school at that time, going to the academic side, and you liked high school. I think we all kind of liked high school. But on the academic side, what maybe school was hard. What did you want to do at that point? School in regard to like studying
Yeah.
and like focusing on the future and stuff like that.
Yeah. School was hard, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I always had the dream of going away to school, but I don't know why I did, because I knew that I never would be able to afford that. Like, I knew my parents didn't save up money for my school. Like, that was something I knew. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, junior year, I think it was, that I kind of decided that I wanted to go into nursing when I graduated.
Nursing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where the story will get thicker, because, most people kind of have their life, like their worst part of their life, maybe when they're like 20.
Okay.
But my life took the shits like in my 30s and
Which is super hard.
ends of my 20s, which makes it so much worse.
Oh, so much
Well,
worse because you
yeah,
wake up and you're 40.
yeah, yeah. And I mean,
When you wake
I
up and
am,
you're 30, it's
yeah,
okay. You have time.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get there, but I mean, I haven't talked to Slade probably in 3 years.
3 years. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So after high school graduation, what happened then? Like, what did you do? Did you go off to school? What was your plan? Because you wanted
Yep.
to be a nurse, kind of.
Yep. I
Mm-hmm.
went to Delta
Mm-hmm.
and,
Living at home
um,
still?
yep,
Uh-huh.
living at home still. Took all my prerequisites still at home where it was cheaper. I got into nursing school. First
Mm-hmm.
semester failed out. Felt like an absolute
How?
idiot. I just got into my head, which is the reason Chrissy fails everything, because she has this
Mm,
person in her head that lets her know she can't succeed or do things
mm,
right. So that
mm-hmm,
evil monster got me. So I failed my
mm.
first semester. I dropped out and I went into LPN school, which is
What is that?
licensed practical nurse. A
Okay.
licensed practical nurse is about a step below the registered nurse. You can do
Okay.
everything except pass medications, like
Oh, okay. I
controlled
know that one.
substances.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, graduated from there, moved out, had my own apartment, still in Saginaw, though. I was living
Still in
at Fox
Saginaw.
Glen at the time. Yep.
Oh yeah. Fox Glen, yeah.
Yep. Lived at Fox Glen. Decided I wanted to go back to school and try the RN thing again, because I always kind of was good at it. Like, I knew I was good at being a licensed practical nurse. I just had to figure out how to study and that. So I got into the nursing program and had an amazing teacher who kind of took me aside and gave me all these hints to get out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a registered nurse.
Oh, congratulations. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm no longer, I have a suspended license now, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I know.
But I
Yeah.
did, I practiced as a nurse for a long time, about 6 years.
Wow. I want to go
Yeah.
back because one thing stands out and reminds me of Turia is
Hmm.
that you weren't what I would call a stupid person. You're actually very sharp and very bright. What is
Thank you.
it? Yeah, I think you agree. Like you would like Taria, like you think about this Taria. She's a smart
I would
person, actually.
very.
Very
I would
smart.
not say, I would say I'm street smart, but
Yeah,
I
but
think I
like
was always compared to
no, they're not
Jimmy.
like book smart necessarily, but there's like not a lack of
Oh,
knowledge there. Yeah, like there's
yeah, no, I
smartness.
mean, I know.
So
Yeah, I would say I got that. Yeah,
yeah, what
but
do you
yeah.
think it is that with the actual education side, for example, like failing out of school, stuff like this, why do you think that you struggled with the education side when your mind is capable basically of handling concepts and being disciplined and all it takes to succeed educationally? What do you think that
Yeah.
is?
Mine, I think, turned to just being so miserable at home, which turned to like smoking weed,
Hmm.
which that probably was a huge
When did
contributor
you
to
start
it
smoking weed?
because
Did you smoke weed in high school?
no,
That's what I
rarely. Like
thought.
me and Slade, you would get like a half a joint and get like high as kites. Like once, I maybe once or twice in high school, I remember it, but it
That's what
was
I
like
thought. Yeah,
a funny. Yeah, no, I didn't smoke in high school,
that's what I thought.
but
Yeah.
it came
When did
pretty
you get
quick out of
interested? Yeah,
college.
pretty quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably when I was like 20-ish.
I always want to know how people find drugs. So, like, how do you
Well,
find weed at that time? Who's your
well,
enabler,
my little
basically?
brother was a stoner, like all
Hmm.
through elementary school, not elementary, middle and high school. So
Even middle. Wow.
when I moved back home for nursing school, he was always bringing his friends around and they would, smoke in our basement because my parents didn't care and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd go down there and I would be like, hey, I'll smoke. And then it just became something that I
Okay.
did
So the
too
little
much
brother.
for a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I got
Mm-hmm.
introduced to it was my little
Mm-hmm.
brother. Yeah.
And you can kind of like not study them.
Yeah. I just didn't really apply myself as much. I never thought of what the consequence would actually be when you fail out of nursing school. I just thought, well, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to fail.
What about alcohol?
I
Did you
did.
drink much in high school?
I wouldn't say tons, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely drank, but I think it was just like a fun weekend thing or like on prom, we'd sneak some stuff, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't like a weekend like drinker. I've
Like
never
being
been a
stupid.
huge big drinker.
Yeah, I would like now looking back, like I'm super curious about yours is a little different, but I'm so curious about how drugs were introduced into our school because that was a
Yeah.
huge moment of divergence from our friends basically. It's like once you got introduced to drugs, it's like first of all, I was like afraid of drugs at that point. So like
Mm-hmm.
even marijuana, I like I was sad as like I would lose a friend, because I won't say names, but there was like a subset of our group that really couldn't make it in sports. I think they could, but it was probably the wrong system. But they basically stopped playing sports, and the next thing you know, they're smoking weed. We all drank, of course, but I
Yeah.
think if you're drinking and not doing something productive like sports, it's really bad. It's not good to drink anyways at that age, but like if you're not having sports to like kind of keep you grounded. It's like, oh, okay, I can't drink at this moment. While other people can
Yeah.
drink every day, then it's
All
really
the
bad too.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right. Right.
Because I don't know the difference between our high school at Heritage versus even Nouvelle or any other place in the country, but it seems like we were borderline had a substance issue that never will go addressed. Basically, we had a lot of drugs secretly and a lot of alcohol. Obviously, like everyone
Yeah.
was
For sure.
drinking. Yeah, right. It
A
seems like
lot.
that. Yeah,
It
that's what I
does.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.